What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about the top 5 bass saxophonists in jazz. First, I really want to thank all of our Patreon supporters who donate as little as $1 a month to support this channel. You can check out the link below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified about future videos. And don't forget to drop us a comment to let us know what you think. Most saxophone players are familiar with the soprano, alto, tenor, and baritone saxophones. But the saxophone family is much larger than just those 4 saxes. An even larger lower saxophone below the baritone is called the bass saxophone. It's pitched in B flat, which is an octave below the tenor sax. Today, the bass sax is associated with 1920s jazz. It's also occasionally used in concert band and musical theater repertoire. In the mid-1800s, the inventor Adolph Sax designed an even lower, larger saxophone that sat a fifth lower than the bass, which was called the contrabass. And later in life, he even designed an even lower sax, which is called the sub-contrabass, but never built it. But eventually, in 1999, the sub-contrabass B-flat saxophone was finally built. Now, the contrabass and sub-contrabass are so rare that very few musicians play them. But there are enough bass saxophones out there to have some of the greats in the music business perform them on a regular basis. And I wanted to go through 5 of the greatest bass saxophonists in history. Let's get to the list. Coming in at number 5 for bass saxophonists in jazz, we have Boyd Rayburn. Bass saxophonist Boyd Rayburn started out leading a commercial pop orchestra in the 1930s. In 1944, he formed a Count Basie-influenced swing band with players including Benny Harris, Serge Shaloff, Roy Eldridge, and Trummy Young. The arrangements became more and more modern, echoing the avant-garde style of Stan Kenton's band. They were the first band to record Dizzy Gillespie's piece, A Night in Tunisia. The composer and arranger George Handy steered the band's sound toward modern classical music, adding new instrumentation and band members including Lucky Thompson and Buddy DeFranco. Ultimately, the band couldn't find enough commercial success, and Rayburn returned to performing dance music in 1948. Coming in at number 4 for bass saxophonists in jazz, we have James Carter. The first cousin of jazz violinist Regina Carter, James Carter toured Europe performing at the age of only 16. Since moving to New York in 1990, he's been a prominent recording artist on saxophones, clarinets, and the flute. Carter won Downbeat Magazine's Critics' Choice Baritone Saxophone Award several years in a row. He's collaborated with Lester Bowie, Wynton Marsalis, Dee Dee Bridgewater, the Mingus Big Band, and the World Saxophone Quartet. Carter is an authority on vintage and auxiliary saxophones, owning an extensive collection. Coming in at number 3 for bass saxophonists in jazz, we have Adrian Rolini. The young Rolini dropped out of high school, busy recording piano rolls. At a young age, he was skilled at playing the piano, drums, xylophone, and most importantly, the bass saxophone, which lended itself well to 1920s hot jazz. Rolini carved out a niche as a bass saxophonist, recording with Bix Beiderbecke, Frankie Trumbauer, the Dorsey Brothers, Jack Teagarden, and Benny Goodman. The 1930s brought the advent of the electric microphone and a shift from the hot style towards a more reserved sound. Consequently, the bass sax fell out of favor, and Rolini shifted his focus to the vibraphone. He was very adventurous with playing strange instruments, and is known for introducing the general public to a cross between the saxophone and accordion, known as the goofus. Coming in at number 2 For bass saxophonists in jazz, we have Scott Robinson. Robinson is best known for his work on various saxophones, but also performs on clarinet, flute, trumpet, sarrusophone, the theremin, and dozens of other obscure instruments. He's appeared on more than 300 recordings, including 4 Grammy winners and 20 under his own leadership. Robinson has received 4 grants from the National Endowment for the Arts. He's been the baritone saxophonist with the Maria Schneider Band for more than 25 years. Not only does Robinson play the most diverse group of instruments than any other performer, but the styles of music he plays are equally eclectic, from rock and roll, New Orleans jazz, pop, and avant-garde. The lowest instrument he plays is a vintage contrabass saxophone, which is 1 octave below the baritone. Fewer than 20 of them in playing condition are known to exist. And finally, coming in at number 1 for bass saxophonists in jazz, we have Vince Giordano. Grammy winner Vince Giordano has headlined at Town Hall, Jazz at Lincoln Center, the Newport Jazz Festival, the 92nd Street Y, and countless times on Garrison Keillor's Prairie Home Companion. He's dedicated his life to being an expert performer and educator of 1920s and 30s jazz. While his primary instrument is the bass saxophone, Giordano also regularly performs on the tuba, string bass, and piano. His 11-piece orchestra, the Nighthawks, has been regularly performing for over 4 decades, performing the music authentic to the early days of jazz, a la Jelly Roll Morton, Louis Armstrong, and Duke Ellington. They've recorded for dozens of films, including The Aviator, Finding Forrester, and Public Enemies, in addition to television series including Boardwalk Empire and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. In addition to his musical prowess, Giordano is a historian and a collector with more than 60,000 musical scores in his collection. My brother Peter and I had the pleasure of visiting Giordano's home a few months ago, and you can check out the video on our YouTube channel which features us performing with Vince as well as getting an entire tour of his home, which is basically a museum. You can also hear the Nighthawks perform regularly throughout New York City. So that's it, guys. Let me know what you think. I had a blast putting this list together. The bass saxophone is such a unique instrument and combines the aesthetic of a tuba or string bass with the timbre of a saxophone. As always, we really want to thank all of our Patreon supporters who help this channel grow by contributing as little as $1 a month. Check out the link below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and we'll see you next time.